Good evening, Uganda. Welcome to Face the Nation. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga, your host for this particular interview. The Democratic Republic of Congo is under what you may call fire as the M23, the March 23 rebels, capture Goma, one of the biggest cities in eastern Congo. Now, this particular insurgency or fighting has been there for a while. From 2013, when the peace talks were signed, up to today, we have had a lot of issues happening there, starting from the M23 rebels being taken to Uganda and Rwanda, and of course, them returning back to Congo to fight. We don't know how that particular engagement happened. This evening, we paint a picture of what is happening in Congo, bringing you the facts based on evidence and from a professional who knows or who has studied this particular conflict and will be telling us more of what he thinks causes or has caused this particular fighting. How is this fighting in the Democratic Republic of Congo affecting the Congolese, but also the East African community? And then, what is the solution for this particular challenge? For this evening, to face the nation is Professor Mwambutsya Ndebesa. He is a university lecturer, in fact I can say former university lecturer. He is also a civil rights activist, and he's an academician, someone who has taught various Ugandans everything about politics, but also he's one person who's a political analyst, someone who comes out to tell Ugandans on political issues. You're most welcome, Professor Mwambutsya Ndebesa.
Thank you, and I greet the viewers out there and invite them to listen to this conversation, which is of regional and international importance.
Yes, sir. Let's start even from there. Someone who may not know where this conflict originated from, why is there fighting in the Democratic Republic of Congo, sir?
The Democratic Republic of Congo could be described or characterized as the sick man of Eastern Africa, or the sick man of the Great Lakes region. The challenges of the Congo have not started.
Yes.
Actually, at the Berlin Colonial Conference of 1884-85, Congo was characterized as a free state.
Yes, sir.
So that is where the origins of the problems come from. It is a free for all.
Just to paint a picture for our people, the 1884 Scramble and Partition was when the white powers broke down Africa for themselves. That is what you mean in 1884, the Berlin Conference.
In 1884-85, European powers met in the capital city of Germany, Berlin,
yes, sir,
to divide Africa amongst themselves. And at that time, Congo was given to King Leopold of Belgium,
yes, sir,
as his personal estate. And it was characterized as Congo Free State.
Yes, sir.
The free word there meant that anybody could go to Congo and do trade with Congo. So it seems that characterization has become prophetic.
Okay.
That it has remained a free for all. The indigenous people of Congo, the citizens of Congo, as well as outsiders in the region and outside the continent.
Okay. So how do they come to start? How does M23 come in the picture?
The current challenge of M23 is caused by multiple reasons. Among them is the history of Congo, the structural makeup of Congo, the challenges of poor governance in Congo, as well as the neighboring countries, the interference from the neighboring countries. So now going to the history of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly North-South Kivu, not the whole of Kivu. Because the Kivu province is bigger than where M23 is operating. Actually, the Kivu province, North Kivu province of Congo,
yes, sir,
is twice the size of Rwanda. Possibly it is the same size as the whole of Western Uganda, all the way from Bunyoro through Toro to Ankole and Kigezi. And where the conflict is currently taking place is a small area around the regions of Rushuri, Nyiragongo, Masisi, and Marekere. So it is not the biggest province, the whole of the province.
Okay.
And one can raise the question that the whole of Congo has weak governance and is prone to conflicts, but that area has had a long-lasting conflicts than any other place.
Yes.
Actually, it has lasted for now 30 years continuously, since 1994, when there was a genocide in Congo.
In Rwanda.
In Rwanda. So it has concentrated there, I think, among other factors, because of regional players, regional interference. But by and large, the challenges of Congo are in the whole of the Congo region because of poor governance. Somebody, I think that is General Mugishamuntu, has put it graphically like that. When you have got, using medical language, when you have immunity compromised, your immunity is weak, you are likely to attract other opportunistic players coming to you. So the political immunity of Congo is weak.
Okay.
Poor governance, and that has attracted other players.
Does the M23 have a valid reason for fighting? Because they are fighting, and they've been fighting for a while. Do they have a valid reason to say this is why we are fighting?
I don't know the reasons why they are fighting, because there are some hidden agendas. In a conflict like that one, which has persisted for a long time,
yes, sir,
the reasons that are advanced are stated as to why they are fighting may not necessarily be the actual reasons why they are fighting, and therefore it is not easy to overcome the challenge.
What are those actual reasons they are giving?
The reasons they are giving is that they are denied the Rwandaphone Tutsi group,
yes,
in Congo, claim that the Democratic Republic of Congo government denies them citizenship,
yes,
that they are called aliens, and yet they say they are citizens
of Congo.
And two, that they are being killed by some rogue forces whom they call negative forces, who kill their communities, and that they want to fight to defend themselves. And three is that the government of Congo is a poor government, it is a weak government, it is dictatorial, it is incompetent, and therefore they would want to overthrow it and put in place a competent regime, a government in Kinshasa. However,
yes, sir,
those are sometimes excuses. Although they might look on the surface to be true, it is not necessarily the reasons why I think they are necessarily fighting. It is true that some of the Banyarwandaphone, Rwanda-speaking people,
yes,
in North Kivu and South Kivu have been denied citizenship, and citizenship in Congo has been changing time. That at one time it was determined by the period when Congo was established by the Berlin Colonial Conference. Then they changed it to when it changed status from King Leopold to Belgium, that is in 1908. Then it changed the status that it is an independence, 1960.
yes,
And then later it is in 1972, I don't know why. But the question is, why is the challenge, the fighting, concentrating in North-South Kivu?
One would say that most of the Banyarwanda-speaking people are from that particular area.
You
Can
are
that
saying
justify?
that most of the Banyarwanda-speaking people are in that area, which is not necessarily true. And the people, commentators, have been making a mistake to say that M23 are Banyamulenge. It is not
exactly.
true. Banyamulenge are in South Kivu, around the towns of Bukavu and Uvira. This problem around Goma and North Kivu is not involving Banyamulenge. Banyamulenge are a community of Chinyarwanda-speaking people in Mulenge Mountains in South Kivu. And they went there running away long ago from the Nyinginya monarchy dynasty of Rwanda before colonialism.
Yes.
But the current group who are fighting in North Kivu are a group of Rwanda-speaking people who have gone there at different times. The first time they went there, the first group was living there before colonialism.
Yes.
But those are few. The second group, which is the largest group, went there as migrant settlers. They went there from 1928 as labor migrants who were brought there by the Belgians to work in the plantation mines in that region.
Yes, sir.
The third group are the refugees who ran away from Rwanda because of the turbulent challenges of 1959, 64.
Then, yes, we remember that.
The fourth group are those who took refuge in that region after the 1994 genocide problems in Rwanda. And these are not Banyamulenge, although they are wonderful people who have got their own challenges there, even between the communities of the Congo who are not necessarily wonderful. For example, they are the Bahunde. The Bahunde community, actually that region before colonialism was called Buhunde. So it is a community of the Bahunde. But there are other groups of people like the Bashishi. In fact, the last king of Rwanda before colonialism, Rwabugiri, was killed by the Bashishi people around the Kivu Lake. And that region had not been part of the kingdom of Rwanda.
Okay.
The pre-colonial Rwanda kingdom had not consolidated its power around those areas. It is not correct to say that the Banyamulenge were part of the Rwanda kingdom. No.
Because that's the argument.
No.
Many are saying maybe it's a territorial problem.
It has been a mistake in historical analysis. The Banyamulenge of South Kivu were not yet under the Banyinjija dynasty of Rwanda. So were those areas of North Kivu. They were not. However, the current state of Rwanda seems to give that impression, creating that impression that those areas were part and parcel of Rwanda kingdom before colonialism. Wrong. The original Nyinjinya kingdom of Rwanda was not so expansive, was not so big as they claim.
Okay.
Actually, it had also not consolidated the areas, the kingdoms it has defeated. Because in what is Rwanda today, there were other kingdoms before colonialism came.
Yes, sir.
Or towards the colonial period. You get it?
Yes, sir.
So, that historical claim is part of the problem of North Kivu.
Okay, let's look at, is there evidence to suggest or to defend that these people are being harassed or are being killed and are being treated in a way that is not right? I'm talking about the Banyamulenge people.
Please, you are making a mistake again to say you are talking about the Banyamulenge people. The Banyamulenge people are in South Kivu.
Okay, so
these are wonderful in North Kivu, and they are not Banyamulenge.
Okay, are they being treated in that way? Are they being killed? Do they have a justifiable reason?
This conflict has taken place for some time.
Yes, sir.
And the M23 is actually a new version of that conflict. Now, the area conflict, 2009, 2000 and whatever, when they fought and there was a negotiation with the Kinshasa administration, I think under Kabila Jr.
Exactly.
They claimed that they were denied citizenship, but they were assured of citizenship. They claimed that they were insecure, but they told them that you are secure. They agreed that they were secure. And then the fighting groups were supposed to be demobilized and reintegrated into the Congo army.
Yes.
and they claim that they were not, which is not necessarily true. These Banyamulenge, not Banyamulenge, these M23 people
Yes.
put there another demand that they should be deployed in North Kivu as people, as soldiers of Congo, but that they should be deployed in North Kivu. And the Kinshasa government refused.
Yeah, because you cannot tell someone to deploy somewhere.
The Kinshasa government refused. That shows to you that they had other intentions, which I suspect they have notions or ideas of seceding from Congo.
Yeah, we shall
And
talk
therefore
about
they
that
wanted
later.
to be deployed in an area so that they could continue organizing and mobilizing for a future agenda, which is seceding from Congo, either forming their own independent state of possibly North Kivu, or seceding and getting integrated in either Rwanda or Uganda. I think they are harboring those notions, which complicates the whole complex situation of North Kivu.
Okay, you've brought in Uganda and Rwanda. These people one time were here and were in Rwanda. I think they were in Bihanga barracks here in Uganda, but they were also in Kigali, Rwanda. How do they return again back to Congo and start or continue fighting again?
Let me first give you some history of how they are entangled, for example, in Rwanda. In between 1991 and 94, when the RPF,
Yes.
now RDF,
RPA.
RPA, it is now
Patriotic Army.
Rwanda Defense
Forces, RDF.
RDF. Before that, when they were fighting to topple the regime of Habyarimana,
Yes.
and they relocated from the Mutara area to the Virunga Mountains area, they actually enlisted some fighters from this current group of M23. So some of the fighters of M23 were actually part of RPA,
Yes.
Rwanda Patriotic Army,
Yes.
who toppled Habyarimana. And now, after the overthrow of Habyarimana, I think some of those elements harbor the idea of using that experience and kind of repeating that experience so that they also fight and get state power in North Kivu.
Like how Kagame was, Museveni takes power in 86 and Kagame lands from Museveni or helps Museveni take power, then goes back to Rwanda. So there are some Congolese who helped Rwanda, Kagame take power in Rwanda, and then they decided to move forward and also take it at home.
They want to replicate the experience
Yes.
of the fighting and toppling Obote and Rutwa, and then the fighting and toppling Habyarimana,
Yes.
and then fighting and toppling Mobutu.
Okay.
They think they can replicate that experience.
Yeah, and also take Kinshasa.
Not necessarily Kinshasa. I think Kinshasa is now being used as a legitimization for the war.
Okay.
I suspect they would want to take over the territory of North Kivu and possibly South Kivu. But I think it will not be so easy or possible because the ethnic community group that is fighting now is not necessarily the only ethnic community in North Kivu and South Kivu. Actually, I have heard that the Banyamulenge of South Kivu are now dissociating themselves from M23. And there are other groups like the Bahunde, Banande. Like in North Kivu, the majority ethnic group are the Banande, these cousins of the Bakonzo. They are estimated to be about 4 million. And the whole of North Kivu is around 9 million. That means the majority are the Banande. And they cannot accept to be led by a Tutsi, Rwandan-speaking people-led state. That one they will not achieve, in my opinion. They had better fight for their rights of citizenship and political rights and land rights. But the question of having a political state led by one ethnic group in North and South Kivu is not a possibility.
Okay, so you are still telling us, how do they leave Uganda and Rwanda to go back and start fighting in Congo?
So now when that fighting of the M23 begins, before M23, they had already fought. And when the combined force of Tanzania and South Africa under SADC arrangement went there in 2012 and defeated them, some of them actually took asylum, sought asylum in Uganda. We are not very sure under what arrangement they stayed in Uganda. Some of them actually speak better Uganda than I speak. Some of them, I suspect, have properties in Kampala. Some of them went to Rwanda. I don't know whether they don't have properties in Kigali. And so they got entangled within the regional politics of this area. Now, the countries bordering this area, that is Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, have been seeking allies in Congo because, among other reasons, these countries have legitimate reasons for being in Congo because Uganda has got rebels fighting the Uganda government in Congo. Rwanda has rebels in Congo fighting Rwanda. Burundi has rebels in Congo fighting Burundi. So they think they have a legitimate right. And the Kinshasa government has invited Uganda to go to Congo to fight rebels. It has invited Burundi to go to Congo and fight rebels, but it has not invited Rwanda. And the Kagame administration thinks they should also be invited like the others too. And if you don't invite us, we shall invite ourselves, and they have invited themselves there. Yes. So
won't this result into a fighting between Rwanda and Congo? Do you see something like that coming up? An upfront confrontation? Because Shekedi has talked about it. Kagame has also said he does not fear a confrontation.
No, let's give it a wider context.
Yes, sir.
Actually, the conflict of M23 in North Kivu is likely to lead to a war of very many African countries, like it has done before. In the past, we have had 9 countries fighting in Congo.
Yes.
In 1998, I think.
Yes, even Uganda and Rwanda fought there.
Yes, we are likely to replicate that experience. It is likely to happen because there are SADC troops there, especially South Africa, I think Burundi, and Tanzania, and Angola, and then of course Ugandan troops are in Congo, Rwandan troops are claimed to be in Congo, and so is Burundi. So they are likely to fight over the issues of that region. First of all, I think there are quiet issues between Rwanda and Uganda in that area of North Kivu. Uganda is constructing roads there. One of them is constructing a road from Bunagana to Goma. And the Kigali administration thinks that that should be their area of influence to operate from and maybe benefit from the mineral wealth in that region. So I think Kigali is jittery that Congo allows Uganda to be and operate in that region and Rwanda not to operate there, and then they feel that they should also take part there and partake in the rooting of the minerals in that area, because the area is rich in minerals, gold, coltan, and other minerals. So I think Uganda's interest in the region and Rwanda's interest in the region can lead to a confrontation that may lead to a war and a repeat of the war that Uganda and Rwanda had in Kisangani. They are likely to have a war anywhere like in the Rushuru region. There is Burundi. Actually, the most likely can be Burundi, because you know the ethnic composition of Burundi and Rwanda are the same. Now, the Kigali current administration is mainly dominated in power by the Tutsi. The current administration in Bujumbura, in Burundi, are the Hutu. And there is this dichotomy between Hutu-Tutsi, the Hutu-Tutsi dichotomy, which is likely to play out between Rwanda and Burundi. After all, the borders of the two countries are still closed.
Exactly.
And they are likely to crash in Congo because Tshisekedi has invited Burundi to Congo, but has not invited Rwanda. Rwanda has invited itself there. And their troops might fight.
Is it actually there? Do we have, as we speak, Rwandan troops in DRC?
All signs are that they are there because in the latest interview with CNN, I think a journalist, when President Kagame was asked, do you have troops in Rwanda? His quick answer was, I don't know. And when probed more that, but you are the commander-in-chief, President Kagame said, do we have a legitimate reason to be in Congo? If the issues in Congo are affecting us, we, in a way he was implying, we have the right to be there.
Oh, okay.
And so, even if they were not there, that is no reason to say that they may not move there when they feel they should move there to fight for what they think are their legitimate interests.
Okay. I'm still with Professor Mwambutsya Ndebesa, university lecturer right here at Makerere University. Sir, why is it that Tshisekedi and Congo prefers SADC than the East African forces? They were once there, and this president came out and said, I don't want any East African forces here. What does this speak of the East African community as a regional bloc?
So before we reach to that one, I think Tshisekedi suspects that the East African, some of the East African countries have vested interest in Congo. And he would not believe that they would be a neutral force. He suspects that some of these regional countries are stealing the mineral wealth of Congo, which has a historical basis.
Yeah, and there is evidence in the history.
Because currently Uganda is still paying reparations to Congo for having rooted their minerals.
Exactly.
And Uganda and Rwanda are currently exporting gold, a lot of gold, and coltan, and the Congo suspects
where are you getting these
from Congo. And because of that suspicion, I think Tshisekedi preferred the SADC forces whom he thought were neutral in the region, or at least they would not be supporting M23 and other fighters. Incidentally, we have since learned that it is not only M23, there is another fighting group, which actually yesterday declared a unilateral ceasefire. And so that is why he was not comfortable with the East African regional standby force or whatever the case may be. But I would like to believe that this is subject to debate. I would like to believe that if the East African countries bordering Congo, like Uganda and Rwanda especially, if they wanted M23 to halt fighting so that there would be negotiations, they do not need to take there their forces. All they need to do is get their telephones and ring those forces, and they will stop. That is my opinion. Why? Because some of those M23 fighters have been living in Kampala and Kigali.
Exactly.
And they went back to Congo coming from Kampala and Kigali. And they have access to President Kagame and President Museveni. And those two leaders, I think, have influence over M23. And therefore, they don't need to take UPDF in Congo to halt the fighting of M23. It only needs a telephone call.
So then that brings me to, have these people done enough to fight, to solve that particular crisis that is in Congo as the East African leaders, or in fact the regional blocs, even SADC? Because why I ask this, one person was looking at SADC as more of a force that is exacerbating or fighting for Congo to fight M23. And they're saying it's not actually practical, or it's not the goodwill for actually the fighting to stop. Do you think they have done enough?
Actually, there is some suspicion that South Africa also has vested interest. Meaning that they are also interested in the minerals.
Everybody in Congo, yes.
Congo has become a free state, free for
there
all.
There are 9 countries there.
And therefore, on that basis, they would suspect the SADC. However, Congo is a sovereign state. It has the right to invite any other power to come there or not to come. So I don't see why Rwanda is saying you invited others and you didn't invite me, because Congo is a sovereign state,
yes,
recognized by the UN, and has the right to invite whomsoever they want to be in Congo.
Exactly.
And they have the right to tell anybody to get out of Congo if they feel should get out of Congo. But that is only if they can also put their house in order and control their territory and their borders, and have a monopoly over the instruments of coercion. Short of that, you will invite all these other hangers-on to come and take advantage of your weakness to exploit the mineral wealth. Now, we are going to have a serious conflict between SADC and EAC.
There is an East African SADC summit that is happening.
That is going to happen, and they are likely not to agree, because if they go there having vested interest but not mutual interest to solve the problem of Congo, they are likely to have challenges there.
You're agreeing with Kagame, because that's the narrative Kagame is having, that I think these people are posturing and the peace talks have become an end in themselves. That's what Kagame
No, but I
is
think
saying.
there are some genuine countries like Tanzania who genuinely want Congo to be peaceful. And I suspect Angola may also not be interested, at least not in North Kivu. They are not having vested interest, they have mutual interest. And Zimbabwe, maybe, because they don't border even Congo, and I don't think they have got their water in Congo. So the principle should be mutual interests, the spirit of Pan-Africanism, but before they go to those negotiations with the hope to get a viable, sustainable solution, they must lay bare their hidden agendas. Very many players in Congo today, especially the neighboring states and even Kenya, they seem to be having vested interest, not mutual interest, for solving the problems of Congo. But let also Kinshasa administration of Tshisekedi also accept to dialogue and listen to the issues of the rebels, provided the rebels also cease fire and leave Goma and go back to their bases somewhere. And they should also negotiate, not necessarily with hidden agendas of secession, because there is what in political science is called irredentism. Irredentism is a desire of certain ethnic or racial groups of people seeking to secede from their homeland country, from their home country, and join the state, the other state where they are the majority. That is irredentism. You see, Rwanda, the Banyarwanda or the Banyarwanda are a nation. They are possibly the largest ethnic group in the whole of Africa. And they are found in Rwanda, in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Congo, and other places. So there is this Rwanda nationalism, something akin to the Jewish nationalism or the Zionist nationalism, and where the Kigali administration thinks that it is their responsibility to protect the Banyarwanda wherever they are.
One would say that's solving the problem. Instead of, because they are in a country that does not see them as Congolese, so they would rather say, let's start our own state. One would say a two-state system would be the best idea. In fact, Obasanjo, former president of Nigeria, had that as an idea.
I think that Obasanjo does not understand the dynamics in the area. And you yourself, you are continuing to make a mistake and think that North Kivu the Banyarwanda are only in North Kivu. They are Banyarwanda in South Kivu.
Yes.
That's one. Two, both North Kivu and South Kivu are not inhabited by Banyarwanda-speaking peoples only. In fact, when you combine all the ethnic groups in those areas, the Banyarwanda phone are a minority. So you want a minority group of ethnic Banyarwanda to rule over the other ethnic groups in North and South Kivu. Will they accept? There will be another war. And two, that irredentism is very dangerous because today, after the United Nations was formed in 1945 and later OAU 1963,
63, yeah.
the principle is that all the colonial boundaries are maintained. So the issue of irredentism should not arise. And if the Rwandaphones in the North Kivu want to replicate the experience of South Sudan and Eritrea, they are mistaken. Because South Sudan, they were blacks, they are all blacks who actually were opposed to the control by the Arabs in the north. But in Rwanda, even in North Kivu, there is no consensus. And there are very many ethnic groups, I've told you. But even the Banyarwanda in North Kivu are divided between the Tutsi and the Hutu.
But even the DRC government does not have the capacity to administer these particular areas.
If
So one would say, if they are that weak, why don't these people just start their own?
If the Kinshasa administration is weak, the principle is that they should maintain the colonial borders. The borders they had at independence. That's the principle. Otherwise, we shall open a Pandora's box if we say we should now rethink the colonial borders. The neighboring states, SADC and EAC, can assist Congo to silence guns and then see how Kinshasa can establish an effective administration in the region. Or I have an idea, an extreme idea.
Which is that
maybe the UN should take up that region as a trusteeship council, as a trustee territory, and have a trusteeship council to run that territory for a specified period as Kinshasa administration sets up an effective administration in the region. Otherwise, the question of the neighboring states seeking to ally with groups in that region and establish an autonomous administration in that region of North and South Kivu is inviting perennial conflicts that will spill over into the neighboring states and destabilize the whole region.
Okay, lastly, as we conclude this particular issue, what do you think can be done? And you've given that, that solution, but where do you see this ending? Where do you see this controversy ending? Do you think these people can take power? And also comment on the fact that our embassies have been banned in Kinshasa, but not only in Kinshasa. In Nairobi, when there was a challenge, Ugandan embassy was burnt there. Uganda is still a common denominator in the East African regional affairs issues. So how do you see this working out? How does it end? And of course, as Ugandans, what do we do, especially in consolidating the peace that we have in the country, but also in the region?
There is a dilemma and challenge about the Uganda government, especially under NRM and Museveni, of participating in pacifying the region. Whereas, on one hand, the Uganda's efforts in pacifying the region are commendable. On the other hand, they are also creating instability in those areas. Because our troops or Uganda participated in the issues of South Sudan.
Yes, we were
South
there.
Sudan got independence, but there is no peace in South Sudan. Uganda has been in Somalia to pacify Somalia. There is no peace in Somalia.
Yes.
Uganda participated in removing Mwambutsya in Congo and is supposedly pacifying Congo. Congo is not peaceful. Except maybe the case of Rwanda. But we are not even sure whether Rwanda has sustainable peace. So we have to be very careful with the role we play in the regions whether we are exporting their militarism or we are exporting their democratic governance.
We are also in Equatorial Guinea as we speak.
So coming back to your question of how the East Africa, there can be peace, lasting peace in the region, I think it is in our mutual interest, all of our citizens and governments in the region, to have stability in Congo, and we trade with Congo, legitimate means of trading with Congo, and we flourish. And therefore, we should call upon the Kinshasa administration to accept that they have a problem in their governance. Accept to negotiate with whichever fighting force that there is. That is one. But two, the regional players, actors, countries should also go and intervene in Congo affairs to promote mutual understanding and mutual interests. But if they go there with hidden agendas to exploit the minerals of Congo and possibly to have alliances there in Congo to fight their own wars in their home countries, then the instability in the Eastern Congo will continue, and it is not in the mutual interest of whoever, whether Congo, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, which are bordering that area. They will experience instability if Congo's affairs are not stabilized.
Okay, lastly, how about Congo and Rwanda? Because Rwanda says the genocidal rebels are actually there, the FDLR, they are actually there. So how does this work out? If Congo is using these FDLR to actually, support them, is there something, a lasting solution that can be?
I don't believe that what Rwanda is talking about FDLR is legitimate. No, I think that group has been decimated almost, has been degraded. I think that's the right word. They don't have capacity to attack Rwanda and destabilize Rwanda. They don't. They have been degraded. And they have grown old. The original group has grown old. You can imagine this is 30 years ago. Somebody who was in the army at 40 years is now almost is now 70 years. So,
but they have had children. The children are now
yeah,
as
they
old
have
as
had
me.
children, but they have not had the opportunity to organize. Remember, Rwanda has been there before to fight them. It is not true that Rwanda was not given an opportunity there. First of all, after Kabila Jr. came into power, the Rwandan forces were in charge in Congo. Kabarebe was the CDF of Congo government in Kinshasa. He had all the way to fight those fellas. And even, I think, Kisekedi invited them to go there and fight. So I think that force has been degraded, and it can continue to be degraded. I don't think the incentive for Rwanda to go to Congo is necessarily that rebel group. It is because they have alliance agreement or alliance interests with the Banyarwanda phone in that region. And as I told you before, Rwanda state, the current Rwanda state, harbors the notion, like the Jewish state in Israel, harbors the notion that it is their right to protect all Banyarwanda wherever they are, including even here in Uganda.
Okay, sir.
And I think that attitude is very dangerous, because Banyarwanda are everywhere. They are in Congo, they are in Uganda, they are in Tanzania.
Exactly.
So any time you have challenges of Rwandaphone speakers in any of the neighboring countries, if you are going to go there to protect them, you are likely to clash with the forces of that country.
Professor, because of time, lastly, there were executions, more than 170 executions that were in Congo recently. And some people have a notion that these executions may have encouraged the M23 to even fight harder and be able to take power in Kinshasa. What do you think about this school of thought?
Who executed who?
DR Congo government executed a group
executed some Rwandaphone.
No, they were not Rwanda. They were calling them rebels.
Rebels?
Yes.
Yeah,
rebels,
it is possible, but also M23 has been executing people. So how far do we go with those claims and counterclaims of executing people. Let's put those issues behind. First, stabilize the region, and then hold those states or members in those countries accountable. Otherwise, to continue claiming and counter-claiming the executions, threats and that will not take the country forward. Let there be a ceasefire. Let them halt fighting. Let them leave the capital cities, the city of Chisang, of Goma. They are now claiming to go to Bukavu.
Yeah.
It is not going to be easy because the population in Bukavu may not support them.
Exactly. They
May have to leave also Sake and maybe maintain some stronghold somewhere, halt, and then negotiate with the Kinshasa government, mediated by neutral countries and neutral mediators.
Okay, sir.
I don't think Rwanda, Burundi, and Uganda can be neutral mediators because they have got vested interests in the region. They have got their fighting groups in the region. They have been there before to root minerals in that area. They can never be trusted by Kinshasa that they will be neutral mediators.
Thank you so much. Kagame is saying that they shouldn't also accept South Africa to be a mediator. He is not comfortable with that.
Okay, let South Africa leave, but
so
there
much.
can be other mediators. UN can mediate,
Okay.
and AU can mediate the conflict, as long as also there is a RAR in fighting. As long as there is fighting, Kinshasa will not accept to negotiate. Unfortunately, it has no capacity to root out these
so
rebels.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Okay, thank you.
That was a good class. I hope you've enjoyed this literature class and lecture from political scholar and scientist, Professor Mwambutsya Ndebesa. Thank you so much for tuning in. We shall be back again next Friday at exactly 5 p.m. Do tune in as Face the Nation returns once more. From the entire team, God bless you and good evening, Uganda.